Okay, dear students, welcome to Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. A very good evening to all of you. So this is the second session on the topic of current electricity. In the first session, we have introduced what is the definition of current. Of course, we didn't discussed about current, but we have seen what is the reason for the current. So I hope students you understood that lecture. Basically, in that session, we discussed about the reason for current flow is because of potential difference. So as long as there is potential difference, then only current will flow. If there is no potential difference, the current won't flow. I gave you many examples in the previous session, like suppose if there are two water tanks of different levels, and if you connect them, the water will flow from higher level tank to lower level tank as long as there is level difference. And once the levels become equal, there will be no further current flow. And it is same with wind flow, or it is same with any type of flow. There should be some difference. So in the same way here, current flow, for the current to flow, there should be some potential difference. And of course, afterwards we have discussed one very fundamental point that current will flow from higher potential to lower potential. And what is meant by higher potential also we discussed. What is meant, and which is at higher potential? Is it positive charge or is it negative charge? Definitely it is positive charge. And why positive charge is considered as higher potential? That point we discussed in the previous session. I hope you understood, the students. And it is defined, and it is according to this definition of potential, that the definition of potential is like this. It is the amount of work done to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to that point. And now for a positive charge, if you are bringing another unit positive charge nearby to it, these two are positive charges, so therefore they will get repelled. And therefore, if you have to bring a unit positive charge from infinity to that point, to the positive charge, then you have to do more work. So that means its potential is high. So therefore, positive charge is always at higher potential. And whereas negative charge, suppose let us say negative charge. How to know whether negative charge is at lower potential? You bring one positive charge from infinity to the negative charge. As you are bringing positive charge nearer to this negative charge, what is happening? These two are opposite of nature. So therefore they will get attracted and your work done will be very easy. So therefore since the work done is less, the potential is less. So therefore negative charge is at lower potential. So therefore, in the circuit diagram, the current will flow from positive to negative because of the reason that the positive charge is at higher potential and negative charge is at lower potential. Of course, students, here even though we say the current is flowing from higher potential to lower potential, which is positive charge to negative charge, but the flow of electrons is opposite to the direction of our conventional direction of current. That means the electrons will flow from negative charge to positive charge, or lower potential to higher potential. So that is what we discussed in the previous session, students. So now in this session we'll start with the definition of, basically the definition of current, and then we'll see some important points of current, and then we'll move to the next two more topics called as current density and drift velocity. So let us start with this current. So here you can see, students, current is defined as the rate of flow of charge through a given cross-sectional area. So rate of flow of charge. Okay, rate of flow of charge, basically charge means electrons, rate of flow of electrons, because positive charges won't move, the protons won't move. So through a given cross-sectional area. So okay, in the last class we discussed about what is the reason for this flow of electrons. Okay, so now here you can see in the first diagram, students, in this first diagram we have connected one cell. This is called positive charge, this is called as negative charge. So now when you connect like this, what will happen is the flow of currents, the direction of flow of currents is in this direction, but the direction of flow of current is like this. Just now I told that the current will flow from positive to negative, like this it will flow and then it will come back. Whereas the direction of electrons is opposite to the direction of flow of current. Okay. So now just now we have seen that the reason for the flow of electrons. Now suppose let us say you take one cross-sectional area, some area. Okay, some area we have taken. Now suppose let us say some charges are flowing. How many charges are flowing here, students? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 4 by, in how much time? Suppose let us say in 2 seconds. So that means how much? 2. Okay, so this is called as rate of flow of 2 amperes. This is called as rate of flow of charge. rate of flow of electrons. So this is called as 2 amperes. This is called as current. Current is nothing but defined as rate of flow of charge. Rate of flow of charge through a given cross section. Rate means always time. Rate means just like velocity. It's defined as rate of flow. Okay. Velocity is nothing but rate of change of displacement, like that. Okay. Acceleration means rate of change of velocity, like that. Okay. So it's nothing but acceleration is equal to rate of change of velocity means v by t. Whenever it is rate means by t. Okay. So here also it is nothing but rate of flow of charge. I is equal to q by t. So electric current is defined as the rate of flow of charge, which is equal to I is equal to q by t. And what is the unit, students? Its unit is nothing but ampere. 1 ampere is equal to 1 coulomb per 1 second, because coulomb is the unit of charge and second is the unit of time. Okay. So students, actually here just once again re-emphasizing that when the conductor is not connected to any battery, what is the direction of flow of electrons? Actually, when you say conductor means lot of electrons will be there, Okay, so definitely, suppose let's say this is a conductor in which there are lot of electrons. Okay, now in this this conductor is not connected to any battery or cell. So now even though it is not connected, but there will be movement of electrons. See here, students, you can see here the movement of electrons is there, because lot of free electrons will be there in conductor, because that is the basic difference between a conductor and an insulator. And in insulator there will be no much electrons, whereas in conductors lot of free electrons will be there. So they will be moving randomly in all directions. Okay. So here you can see in this diagram that electrons are moving. Electrons are definitely moving. But if you take any cross-sectional area, suppose let us say you take any cross-sectional area like this. Okay. Now, can you tell definitely that a few electrons, suppose let's say just now I told 4 electrons. Can you say definitely that some 4 electrons are going this side? No, you cannot tell. Why? Because maybe 4 electrons must have gone this side, but again they may come here. Why? Because there is some random direction. Again they may come here. They'll go right side and then they'll come left side. So in effect, there is no definite movement of electrons. Just like here, suppose let's say in a room, suppose let's say some 10 students entered, and then after some time 6 students came out. That means how much is the net flow? 4 students. Okay. But suppose let's say if 10 students went into the room and again all those students came outside, then what is the movement of students? 0, because all the students went and then all the students came back. Same way here also, whenever a conductor is not connected to cell, definitely there is movement of electrons, but there is no definite movement towards one side. They will be randomly moving. They will go that side and then again come this side. They will go that side and again come this side. So therefore, whenever a conductor is not connected to a battery, there will be movement of electrons, but there is no flow of current. Okay. But whereas whenever we connect a battery or a cell to a conductor, what will happen? There is a battery here. So therefore there is positive, this is called positive charge, this is called as negative charge. So positive charge is at higher potential and negative charge is at lower potential. So because of this potential difference, what will happen? The electrons would flow. And the direction of current is opposite to the direction of current, electron flow. So therefore, only when we connect a cell to a conductor, then only we can say that the current is flowing. Otherwise we cannot say. We can say that there is movement of electrons, but we cannot say that there is definite current flow. Okay. So I hope students you understood that when you don't connect a cell, definitely there is movement of electrons, but we cannot say there is current flow. Okay. So now that is about the definition of current. Now we'll see some important points regarding current. What is the unit of current, students? Its unit of current is ampere, or nothing but 1 coulomb per 1 second. Okay. And what are the types of current? Okay, there are 2 types of current. One is called as DC, another one is called as AC. Okay. What is meant by DC? DC is nothing but called as direct current. What is meant by AC? AC is called as alternating current. AC is called as alternating current. Okay. So direct current is that current in which the current remains constant irrespective of time. Suppose let us say here 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 6 seconds. Now suppose let's say current is 5 amperes. Okay, suppose let's say this is a conductor in which current is flowing, some DC current is flowing. How much current? 5 amperes. Okay, now at 1 second what is the current, students? At 1 second 5 amperes, 2 seconds 5 amperes, 3 seconds 5 amperes, 4 seconds 5 amperes. So that means the magnitude of current and the direction of current remains same no matter whatever time it may be. So that type of current is called as DC current, direct current. What are the examples? Like suppose let's say you take a cell, that is an example of DC current, because the current will be flowing only in one direction. Okay, and whereas AC current, what is meant by AC current? Alternating current, which we are having in our houses. Okay, that's called alternating, particularly to say that's called sinusoidal alternating voltage source. Okay, or sinusoidal alternating current. Okay, there are different types of alternating currents. Basically what is meant by alternating current means that current which changes its magnitude and direction. Suppose let's say this can be one alternating current, or this can be one alternating current. Here you can see at every moment the magnitude and direction. Here you can see the magnitude as well as direction. After some time direction changes, after some time magnitude changes. So at every point of time its magnitude and its direction changes. That is the definition of alternating current, which changes its magnitude and direction at every moment. Okay, so out of all the different types of alternating currents, sinusoidal alternating current is a very important alternating current. Okay, for many reasons, afterwards we'll see. So this is an example of alternating current. Okay, next one, what are the effects of current? Whenever current flows, there are three effects. One is called thermal effect, one is called as magnetic effect, and one is called as chemical effect. Okay, so first one, thermal effect, all of you must be knowing. We are using daily in our houses. Whenever we want to heat water we use geyser. Okay, so this geyser will have some rod in through which we pass current, and whenever we pass current it will produce heat. Whenever we pass current it will produce heat, and that heat energy will heat our water. Okay, so therefore this is an example for thermal effect. Okay, or heating effect. There are many examples. Okay, next one is the most very important one, that's called as magnetic effect. Okay, so magnetic effect means, suppose let's say here we have taken one nail. Okay, on which suppose let's say there is a wire like this connected to a cell. Okay, now what will happen? Whenever we connect a cell, current will flow. Now when current flows in this wire which is wound over a nail, what will happen is, even though the nail is iron, now it will behave like a magnet. Okay, so therefore what will happen? As long as the current flow is there, then it will attract this pins. Once you disconnect this, then what will happen? These pins will no longer be attracted towards this magnet. So that's called as magnetic effect. Or you can also see another example. Suppose let us say there is a current flow here. So now this is a current carrying wire. Near to this current carrying wire, if you place a magnetic needle, then what will happen is it will deflect, indicating that there is some magnetic field around a current carrying wire. Okay, so that's called as magnetic effect. And next one is called as chemical effect. All of you must be knowing, whenever in your chemistry, electrochemistry, you must be studying that whenever we place two rods, one cathode and anode, in an electrolytic solution, and then if you connect it to a cell, what will happen? These two rods, when cathode and anode is connected to a cell, then what will happen is electrolysis phenomena will happen, and thereby all the cations will reach to here and all the anions will reach here, and thereby what will happen is they'll form cathode and anode. Okay, that means chemical effect will be there whenever we pass current. This electrolysis is happening because of flow of current, like this. Okay, so this is regarding effects of current. And next one important point regarding current is a scalar quantity because it doesn't obey parallelogram law. Okay, although this current is defined in terms of both magnitude and direction, because the direction is also important. Just now I told that in alternating current, direction, it changes its direction. Sometimes it goes towards right side, sometimes it goes towards left side. So both magnitude and direction are very, very important. Okay, So any quantity which has got both magnitude and direction is called as a vector quantity. But here, even though the current has magnitude and direction, but it is still considered as a scalar. It is still considered as a scalar. Actually, we should not use scalar term, we should use tensor. We should use tensor quantity. But in most of the textbooks, they give the definition as a scalar quantity only. So now here you can see why it behaves as a scalar quantity. Why not as a vector quantity? Because it doesn't obey parallelogram law. It doesn't obey parallelogram law. Like for example, see here. Here a current of 3 amperes is flowing and a current of 4 amperes is flowing. Okay. Now actually by parallelogram law, the resultant current must be equal to root over 3 square plus 4 square plus 2 into 3 into 4 into cos theta, where theta is equal to cos 90. Cos 90 is 0, so therefore root over 9 plus 16, that is equal to root over 25, that is equal to 5 amperes. Actually 5 amperes should be the current which must be flowing in this wire. But actually 5 amperes won't flow. The actual current which will be flowing in this wire is 7 amperes. Okay. So now students, you may ask that how we got this equation. Okay. This is learnt in the parallelogram law. Afterwards we will see it. So therefore we can see that in this the current actually is a scalar quantity because it doesn't obey parallelogram law. Okay. Actually, in one sense, in true sense, we should always say it as a tensor quantity because only we are concerned about only magnitude. Okay. So therefore, this is one important point regarding flow of current. Okay. And next one is called as, next point is what are the charge carriers in different types. Suppose let's say in conductors, the charge carriers are electrons. In electrolytes, the charge carriers are positive and negative ions, and in semiconductors, electrons and holes. Okay. Afterwards, we'll study what are these and all. And now comes the next topic called as current density, okay, which is different from current. Okay, current is just rate of flow of charge. Rate means time, flow of charge. That means Q by T. Q by T is called as current. Okay, but what is current density? Current density is defined as the current per unit area. It is defined as current per unit area. Okay, so now suppose let's say here you can see the diagram. There is a conductor in which there are electrons flowing. Now here if you take anywhere some cross section area, now in this area how much current is flowing? In this area how much current is flowing? That is called as current density. That is called as current density. J is equal, it is represented by symbol J. Actually this is a vector quantity, whereas current is a scalar quantity, but current density is a vector quantity because of the area of cross section, because area is a vector quantity, so therefore current density is a vector quantity. Okay, so what is the direction of this current quantity? It is a vector whose direction is same as that of the direction of the current. Here suppose let's say current flow is towards this side, then current density is also towards that side. So it should always be represented by an arrow which indicates that this is a vector quantity. Okay, and what is the unit? It is equal to, what is the unit of current? Ampere. What is the unit of area? Meter square. So therefore its unit is equal to ampere per meter square. Okay, so its formula is given as J is equal to I by A. Okay, so this is the definition of current density, which is a vector quantity. Now let us see one problem. If a current of 1.8 amperes flows through a wire of cross-sectional area 0.5 millimeter square, what is the current density? Okay, so students, just now we have seen what is the current density. J is equal to I by A. So what is the current here? 1.8 divided by, what is the area? 0.5 millimeter square. Okay, so we should convert into SI system, that is equal to 10 power minus 6, because 10 power minus 3 whole square. Okay, so that is equal to how much, students, here? 3.6 into 10 power 6 ampere per meter square. Okay, so this is called as current density. So until now we have finished two definitions. One is called as current, another one is called as current density, and third one is very important, that's called as drift velocity. Okay, so let us move to the third definition, that is called as drift velocity. What is meant by drift velocity? Here students, just now we have seen that whenever a conductor is not connected to a cell, there will be movement of electrons in random directions. But the moment when you connect a cell, like this, what will happen is all the electrons will be forced towards one side. Which side, students? The electrons will be flowing, actually current will be flowing towards right side here, but the electrons will be flowing, this is the flow of current, and the electrons would be flowing left sides. Okay, so here the electrons they'll move this side. Okay, as they are moving, they will have some velocity. That velocity is called as drift velocity. Whenever some object is moving, it will have some velocity. That is called as, here it is called as drift velocity. So first of all, why it will happen? What is the reason for this drift velocity? Okay, so students, here some quantities are involved. I'll explain those quantities as far as possible. Okay, I hope you will understand, because there are some terms called as electric field, force, and acceleration. Okay, so first let me explain. So now students, whenever we connect a potential difference of V, across a conductor, first and foremost what will happen is there will be an electric field. Okay, so that electric field will be from positive to negative. So now that means when you connect a potential difference, first which one will come? Electric field. Now in this electric field, when the electrons are there, when these electrons are there, now there is electric field, now there is an electron. Okay, now as soon as you apply this voltage V, there is an electric field. Now as soon as the electric field comes, this electron will experience force. Of how much? F is equal to QE. And since the charge of the electron is what? Negative charge. So that means force will be minus E. So therefore, since the electric field is towards right side, the electron will experience force left side. Okay, I hope students you understood. This is the sequence by which the electrons will gain velocity. What is the first one? First we should apply some voltage. Because of this voltage, there will be electric field. How and all we'll see afterwards. Okay, electric field, basically it is nothing but like gravitational field. In a gravitational field, suppose let's say if you place an object of mass m, then it will experience force. Correct or not? Suppose like this. Okay, same way in an electric field E, if a charge Q is placed, it will experience force. Okay, so force of F equal to QE, and since it is negative charge, it will experience force in the opposite direction of electric field E. So therefore, because of this force, we know acceleration will be there by Newton's law. We know F is equal to ma. Okay, so because of this force, there will be acceleration, and whenever an object has acceleration, it must have some velocity. That velocity is called as drift velocity. So therefore, this electron will be drifted. Drifted means forced. Okay, towards one side, and that velocity is called as drift velocity. So therefore, here you can write F is equal to QE, ma is equal to QE. From here, A is equal to QE by m. Okay, and from here, after doing some integration and integration part, finally you will get this result where the drift velocity is given as Vd is equal to Q tau by m into E. Okay, where Q is called as charge, m is called as mass of the electron, E is called as electric field, and tau is called as the relaxation time. What is that and all right now we don't discuss. Okay, so there is a term called as relaxation time, the time taken between two average collisions. Okay, that is not required right now. Just remember this formula: drift velocity is equal to Q tau by m into E. Just understand what is the reason for this velocity. Okay, this is the sequence by which the electrons will gain some velocity. Okay, so now, drift velocity is nothing but the average. It is a definition: average uniform velocity acquired by free electrons inside a metal by the application of electric field which is responsible for the current through it. Okay, so now students, after learning the drift velocity, there is one important derivation regarding the relation between the current and drift velocity. This is a very important equation. Okay, that is given by I is equal to V suffix d. V suffix d means drift velocity into E. E means charge of electron into N into A. What is this N and A? Right now we'll see. Okay, So first, what is meant by n? N means number of electrons per unit volume. Suppose let's say here we have taken one cylindrical conductor. Here we have taken one cylindrical conductor. Now there will be some volume. Okay, there will be some volume for the conductor, for this cylindrical conductor. Now suppose let us say n is the number of, here there will be lot of electrons, correct? There will be lot of electrons. So suppose let's say n is the number of electrons per unit volume. Suppose let us say you take one unit volume. Suppose let us say this is the volume, one cube. Okay. So suppose let's say there are some electrons. Suppose let us say 10 electrons are there. That is called as 10. That's called n. Okay. N means what? Number of electrons per unit volume. If you take one unit volume, 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, then the number of electrons that are present in that unit volume is called as n. Okay. So let us say n be the number of electrons per unit volume, and A is the area perpendicular to the current flow. Here current is flowing in this direction. Current is flowing in this direction. So A is this is the area of cross section. This A is the area of cross section perpendicular to the current flow. Okay. So now we want to derive the relation between the current and the drift velocity. Okay. Now just now students, I explained what is the drift velocity. Whenever we connect a battery of voltage V, what will happen? The electrons will experience a velocity of how much? Drift velocity of Vd. Okay, suppose let's say there is an electron here. So this electron is coming toward this side. So suppose let us say there is an electron which will have a velocity of Vd, which is the drift velocity. So with this velocity it will travel. How much distance it is traveling? Of length L in time t. Okay. Now according to the basic definition of drift velocity, we know velocity is equal to length by time. Velocity is equal to length by time. How much distance it has traveled? L. And in how much time? T. So therefore this is called, this is nothing but drift velocity definition of velocity. Vd is equal to L by T. Okay. Now students, just now explain what is the definition of what is the definition of n. What is meant by n? Number of electrons per unit volume. Number of electrons per unit volume. That means in one unit of volume, how many electrons are there? N number of electrons. Now what is the volume of this cylinder? Students, this is a cylinder. What is the volume of cylinder? A into L. So if one unit of volume has n number of electrons, A into L has how many number of electrons? N by 1 into AL. So n into A into L, which is nothing but total number of electrons. That means the total number of electrons that are present in this cylindrical conductor is n into A into L. Okay. Now we know basic formula for charge. Charge Q is equal to n times of E. We know the basic definition of charge, Q equal to Ne. So therefore Q is equal to how many electrons total? Total how many electrons? NaL. So therefore NaL, this N is this one. This N and this N are different. This is number of electrons. This N here what we are defining? Number of electrons per unit volume. Okay, so NaL into E. I hope students you are not getting confused with this N and this one. This N is the total number of electrons. The total number of electrons here is how much? NaL. Okay. So therefore charge Q is equal to NaL into E. Now we know the definition of current. I is equal to Q by T. So what is the charge? Just now students we got NaL E by T. So that is equal to, what is L by T, students? L by T is nothing but Vd. So Na into Vd into E. So that is equal to Vd into E into N into A. So this is an important relation where you can remember it as I equal to Veena. I equal to Veena. Veena, just we know the musical instrument. Okay. So where Vd represents drift velocity, Vd represents drift velocity, E represents charge of electron, and n represents, very important, n represents what, students? Number of electrons per unit volume. In 1 unit volume, if you take a cube of 1 meter by 1 meter by 1 meter, how many electrons are there? That is called as n. And A is the area of cross section perpendicular to the current flow. Okay, so this is one important relation regarding current and drift velocity. Okay, and here some important note is there, students. That note is, just now we derived the relation between current and drift velocity. What is the relation? I is equal to V now, Vd into E into N into A. Now if I bring A downwards, so I by A is equal to Vd into E into N. And already in the drift velocity topic, I gave you the final formula of the drift velocity, although we have not derived it. Okay, what is the formula? E times of tau E by M, okay, into En. Okay, and that is nothing but, what is I by A, students? I by A is nothing but called as current density. Current density is equal to Ne square tau by M into E. Okay, because N into N, E into E square into tau by M into E. Okay, so now this quantity is called as sigma, which is a constant, because N is a constant, N is constant, E is constant, tau is constant, M is constant. So therefore this is called as a constant for a particular material. Okay, so therefore J is equal to sigma into E, where sigma is called as conductivity. Conductivity means it is the property of the material which will allow the flow of electrons. And 1 by sigma is called as rho, which is called as resistivity. Okay, 1 by sigma is called as rho, which is called as resistivity. So and one more important relation. So just now we got the relation between J and E as what? J is equal to sigma E. And what is J? I by A. And what is sigma? 1 by rho. And what is E? Here E means electric field, and there is a relation between electric field and potential difference, which is given as E is equal to V by L. Where V is called as voltage and E is called as electric field. And L is called as the length. Okay, there is a relation which we will learn afterwards in electrostatics. Okay, so I by A is equal to 1 by rho into V by L. Now this L and rho, if you take that side, rho L by A is equal to V by I. If you bring I towards this side, V by I. And we know according to Ohm's law, V is equal to, V by I is nothing but called as resistance. So therefore from this three quantities we can write the relation as V is equal to I times of R, which is nothing but called as Ohm's law. Actually this is the derivation for Ohm's law. Or we can also say that resistance is equal to rho times of L by A, which is what our next topic regarding problems on resistors. Okay, where we'll solve number of problems on this formula. R is equal to rho L by A. What is rho, students? Rho is nothing but called as resistivity of the material, which is a constant for a particular material. And what is the L? L is nothing but the length of the material. Okay, length of the conductor. And what is A? A is nothing but called as the area perpendicular to the flow of current. So therefore students, this formula is very important. R is equal to rho L by A. Our next topic is that one regarding resistors. Okay, so here is a simple problem, students. A copper wire of diameter 1 mm carries a current of 0.2 amperes and has 8.4 into 10 power 28 electrons per meter cube. Okay, find the drift velocity of electrons. So just now we have seen, students, what is the drift velocity? Drift velocity is equal to, before that, what is the relation between current and drift velocity? I is equal to V now, Vd into N into A. Okay, so from this we can write Vd is equal to I by E into N into A, where given what is the current here, students? 0.2 amperes. So 0.2 divided by what is the charge of electron? 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into what is the number of electrons per unit volume? Given is 8.4 into 10 power 28 into area of cross section. What is the area of cross section here, students? They have given only diameter. So therefore we should always assume the conductor to be like a cylindrical conductor. So cylindrical conductor. So this is called as area, which is in the form of circle. So that is nothing but pi into r square. So pi into r square. Diameter is 1 mm. So that means we can write as 0.5 into 10 power minus 6. Okay, because 5 mm diameter is given as 1 mm, so radius is 0.5 mm, so therefore 0.5 mm square, so therefore 0.5 into 10 power minus 6. So if you calculate this one, you will get as answer as 1.8 into 10 power minus 5 meters per second. That means just assume means just if you see this number 0.0000018 meters per second, that means very small actually. That means the velocity with which the electrons will flow in a conductor is very, very, very small. Now you may wonder, students, that how does then whenever we switch on, the current will flow immediately. What is the reason for that one? Okay, the reason for that one is even though the drift velocity is very small in the order of 10 power minus 4 meters per second or 10 power minus 5 meters per second, as compared to the thermal speed. Thermal speed means which is nothing but the speed of electron due to surrounding temperature. I hope students you know that whenever the temperature increases, then the electrons will vibrate more compared to lower temperatures. So therefore the speed of electron will be less when the temperature is low, but when the temperature is high, the speed of electrons will be more. So that is called as thermal speed, and that thermal speed is also having some value. But drift velocity is very, very less even compared to this thermal speed. Okay, then how does the current flow immediately as soon as we switch on? The reason for that is the small value of drift velocity produces a large amount of current due to the presence of large number of free electrons. That means when we say conductor, there will be large number of free electrons. Okay, very, very large. That is the difference between conductors and insulators. Insulators means very small number of electrons. Conductors means large number of electrons will be there. So due to this, what will happen is because of the presence of large number of free electrons, as soon as we switch on, the current will flow immediately because every electron is moving. Okay, so that is the reason, and that happens almost at the speed of light. And that is the reason when you suppose, let's say if you switch on at Delhi, some power station, then immediately we'll get here in Vizag. So therefore the speed at which the current will flow is almost at the speed of light, and of course it involves electromagnetic process also. So that is the reason why, because of which the electric bulb glows immediately when you switch on. Okay, so I hope students you understood what is the definition of current density and drift velocity. And here is one problem which you can do afterwards. A very simple problem. A 10 coulomb charge flows through a wire in 5 minutes. Find the current and drift velocity. Okay, what is the current and what is the drift velocity? Okay, and here is the answers. You can verify it, students. So thank you very much, students. Hoping for the next session we'll start with the some more problems on this, or we'll start directly with the resistance topic, which is a very, very important topic and interesting topic. Thank you very much.